Oh.
Locked and loaded.
Here we go, man.
Hey, have you ever seen The Long Good Friday?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just watched
Great.
that one.
What'd you think?
Incredible.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta watch the whole Hoskins filmography here.
Mona Lisa's fun too. Yeah.
Yeah, did he direct that one?
Bob Hoskins?
Bobby?
No.
Or no?
No. Mona Lisa is directed by. Come on.
Didn't he direct something?
Possibly.
Oh, Neil Jordan.
Neil Jordan. Yeah. Crying Game guy.
Right.
Tofo says, "I hope Dave's live streaming from one of his control rooms." He kind of is.
Ooh, good call.
Yeah, for sure. What else have you been watching? Anything?
Shit, man. Not anything too exciting. What about you? What's next on the podcast there?
Oh, the next episode for 1 fucking hour?
Yeah.
We're doing Magnolia.
Fuck off. Oh boy.
I didn't tell you that?
Ooh. I must have missed it. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, we
that's funny, man.
I know. We just decided.
Was that your choice?
It was kind of Tom's, because we were sort of like, we want to piss people off. We want to start pissing people off, and we saw,
good. Please.
licorice pizza, and we're like, let's really, do something that's gonna get some heat. So we decided to do Magnolia, which means I do have to rewatch a 3-hour movie though.
Oh, I was gonna say.
It's a little painful.
Oh God. I mean, I can only imagine it doesn't age well.
Oh my God. Yeah. So we're gonna be doing that. Then we're taking a Christmas hiatus. We're gonna be gone. We're gonna be off for 2 weeks, and then we'll be back with probably some banger. I think we're gonna maybe do Texas Chainsaw or
boy,
something like that. Something.
Beasts of the Southern Wild.
No. Walkabout was great though. I had that I think is one of our better episodes. I was really happy with that.
Love that movie.
It's great. Yeah, Walkabout was great. And we did Sledgehammer too. That was also fun.
Right. Oh my God, I gotta watch that one.
The Sledgehammer deep dive was really good. Yeah. What's going on, Power Universe? How are people doing?
What's up, y'all?
About ready to start.
Let us know
show.
how you're doing in the chat. Hit us up. Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
Sup, Z's. God, what was Z's from again, guys? I can't remember. It was
Barb Rose.
But
the Barb Rose kind of got a little snubsies from the Hall of Fame.
I mean, I'm not surprised because it's what do you call it? It's not a singular story, It's a
That's true.
Compilation, a bunch of different stuff.
That's true. I mean, I do.
It had garbage claymation photos in it.
Yeah, for half of it. In half of it. So.
Hey.
Yeah.
But that's. One half's an A, the other half's an F. That's not a great.
Maybe that's all. Maybe that's Hall of Fame worthy. Yeah, dude.
Good
Barb
argument
Rose
to be made.
Barb Rose is really one of the best finds of 2021 for sure. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Shout out to Jeff Miller on that one.
Oh, good call. Thank you, Jeff.
For anyone that's listening, I know. Discovering the word Z was the best part of it for sure. For anyone listening, we definitely want feedback on. I was gonna ask you this too, Gabe. Feedback on the time that we stream. Should we be streaming maybe 1 hour later? I kind of thought about that. I don't know. Was thinking about that. Would 9 p.m. be better than 8 p.m.? I don't know. Tell us. But I know there's a lot of European folks that tune in. Believe it or not.
Oh well, they're fucked.
But I know they are. But they do turn in. Tune in. Oh, Jordan's calling me now. Perfect time for Jordan to be calling me.
9 p.m. You're crazy. All right, let's do this.
All right. We're going to start the show, everybody. On the other side, we'll see you in a moment. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Power Comics YouTube live stream. This is Evan Husney, of course, joined to my left by our head researcher, Gabian Ruben Deichel. Gabe, how's it going?
Good, man. What's up? Good to see you. Good to be here. Very great, exciting episode. Ooh.
Oh, man. Got a huge, amazing... special guest that'll be coming out just momentarily. He's still in the green room. But Gabe, man, we just came off the Hall of Fame show. What's your week been like after the Hall of Fame show?
Can only go downhill from here, man. This is it. I peaked. That was incredible. What an incredible show. What a great turnout. Just absolutely star-studded event. Amazing. So happy. Couldn't be happier.
Man.
And you got this amazing news dropping about Dave Bamford, and I mean, incredible. Kudos to you, man. What a great production. Good job. And thanks to everyone.
Yeah, well, thank you, and thank you to our stage manager, Rami Bennett, of course. Yeah, put together a pretty awesome, memorable show. I think that'll go down in the books as one of the more epic Power Comics productions there. So thanks again for everybody who tuned in. I mean, we crowned 5 issues into the Hall of Fame. 3 Power creators are inducted, and of course the Lifetime Achievement Award, the Billy G. Miller Award, going to Bill W. Miller. What a freaking show, man! But tonight, everybody, we have a great follow-up, a good epilogue to the Power Comics Hall of Fame. Yeah, Eric Roberts. Thank you to Eric Roberts for being there as well. Want to shout out him and Lips, of course, from Anvil. But tonight, guys, we are bringing a new Power creator into the fold, someone that we have unearthed from a control room in Bangor, Maine. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the artist behind Lance Stanton #1, a Power Comics Hall of Fame-ish. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Bamford. How's it going, man?
Welcome, Dave. Welcome.
Hello.
Thanks so much for being with us tonight. Man, so first off, Dave, I got to ask, what was it like when I telephoned you? What was that, like a week or so ago? What was that? Was that a phone call you were expecting?
Not at all.
Did you think I was like some crazy... Oh, yeah. Blast from the past?
Yes.
When was like the last time you really thought about Lance Stanton prior to that phone call?
Oh, we'd have to think decades, I think.
Wow. Amazing. Well, welcome.
Sometimes our Power creators will get really weird, ominous phone calls or emails from people reaching out to find their long lost work from our Power community. Good on them. But you hadn't even had that, right? It was totally out of the blue.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Did you think like, oh my God, who is this guy calling me now about this crazy thing? Like, what was it? Because I mean, that can't be a phone call you're expecting. But hopefully, I didn't freak you out too much.
Well, I wasn't spooked because I said, if this was some sort of scam or what have you, this was just too terribly creative not to pursue a little bit. Right.
Piqued the curiosity factor a little bit.
Yeah.
Dave, I'm a huge fan of Lance Stanton. If you could send me $500, I will get it.
Yeah. I am stuck in Zimbabwe and need only Lance Stanton issues to get out of here. But first off, I did want to get your formal reaction to all of this. The idea that after I contacted you, I'm like, yeah, we put together this Hall of Fame ceremony, and a piece of art that you did, 30 plus years ago is being inducted into this new Hall of Fame. So what's your reaction to that?
Well, quite frankly, I'm just kind of tickled that somebody saw it, liked it, appreciated it for what it was, and just enjoyed it. So that's why creative people do what they do.
Amen,
so
brother.
You have it.
Yeah, and absolutely. And you had a chance to watch the Hall of Fame, right? Were you watching it?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Oh, wow.
What were your thoughts of the Hall of Fame?
Well, this is different. Yeah.
Totally.
But that's fine. That's fine. People like esoteric things, and
right.
This is like that's when I explain. Like I used to be a bodybuilder when I was in my early 20s. And,
whoa!
Yeah,
right on.
People would say, "Why do you do this?" And I says, "I don't know. Some people collect stamps. Just people have different interests."
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. And this is awesome and just so, bringing things full circle for Gabe and I, because Lance Stanton, again, has been an issue that has been, sacred to us in what we do here at Power Comics for probably about a decade, right? When Gabe, when you found this, right? I remember that you found this one, right? I think.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how we want to get into it, but I mean, Dave, it was like, essentially Evan turned me on to some comics, and then I started digging for more and scouring the internet and dollar bins, and at some point I found Lance, and I think it was on my Mile High comic shop, which is a great massive
resource
comic shop resource out of where are they, Colorado or something?
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's the website is so old that I was just going off of, I don't even know that I had an image to it. There's a number of these that I just got in the mail, having just clicked on them. Wow. They were in the right time period, and I just rolled the dice. And I think Lance was one of those, and I remember just unearthing it and being just mesmerized. I mean, it really was one of the ones for me that, as my own kind of discovery of a power comic to get me hooked. I mean, I love your artwork so much, and it's just such a gem. I mean, I want to know all about it. So, Evan,
yeah, we got to get into it.
I'll let you take the reins here, but I want to know everything.
Well, let's start at the beginning, Dave, because you and I talked sort of a little bit, but I wanted to save a lot of it for the show. Tell us a little bit about like how comic books entered your life originally, because we know from the backstory mentioned in the opening notes to Lance Stanton that you kind of detail how you were trained when you were young, and then you took a break and you came back to comic books. So kind of walk us through first how comic books entered your life.
Okay. I had a childhood friend in 7th and 8th grade who was a major collector, even at that age. He had like Fantastic Four #1, Spider-Man #1. This was like circa 1971, 72. In that time frame. Mm-hmm. And this guy was like going at comics like Wall Street. He would bargain. He would say, well, I've got 2 Fantastic Four #10s that I'll trade you for a Fantastic Four #1, that sort of thing. And he would upgrade the conditions of his books. If he wanted everything mint.
Wow.
And he kind of got me into it, and he would let me borrow his books, which was an amazing amount of trust.
Yeah.
I appreciated the books for what they were and what they were worth and so on and so forth. And he had, conditions like wash your hands and dry them thoroughly before you look through them. We don't want any finger grease on the pages, that sort of thing.
Right.
So anyways, I discovered Jack Kirby, Jim Steranko, John Buscema, of course, Romita, on and on and on. Mm-hmm. So I was attracted more to the artwork than I was the stories. Mm-hmm. Not that the stories weren't awesome in themselves, but from that point on, I started collecting, not like as seriously as he did, like as a business, but just I would look for artists. And as things went on, I collected anything by Mike Plug, Jim Starlin, Paul Gulacy,
I
know,
love them all. Yeah.
Jim Steranko. I had everything Steranko did for Marvel. Love Steranko.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, this was back
love
in
the
the
Nick
time
Shield stuff, like that Nick Shield, you know, and or like the Nick Fury, like that early run is incredible, and of course, like with Gulacy, the master of the kung fu stuff, which I can see in your work a little bit too.
Right. Yeah. Here's something that'll make you sick.
Oh no.
Master of Kung Fu number 29. That that was the first issue that Paul Gulacy inked.
Right.
So he did the full job on that. The very last page where he confronts Razor Fist for the first time, that was on display at the New York Comic Convention for $50. I came so close to buying it.
The page?
The page.
The original art. Oh my god.
Original art. It was a thing of beauty.
Oh,
and
man.
To this day, I kick myself for not buying it. But it was gorgeous. If you're familiar with it at all. If not, you can look it up. You can Google it, Master of Kung Fu number 29, and you'll see that last page. It's gorgeous.
Whoa.
Anyways, I digress. But so anyways, 7th and 8th grade, my buddy and I, we started doing stick figure comic books, literally stick figures with dialogue.
Nice.
And then we would make typewriter paper, cut it up into 3-inch square pages, make little comics, staple the ends, and it would pass them around the classroom and so on. And, people would laugh at us and they'd laugh at the comics. But, we were just having fun with it. Right. And then later started actually attempting to draw full figures, just standard comics. And again, it was on typewriter paper, felt tips, magic markers, colored pencils, and made several issues of those. And they usually ran about 12 pages.
Do you got any of those? We might want some of those.
Yeah. Well, it's like every figure was face front, just, and
that's what we love.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, not a lot of variety in the faces, not a lot of variety in the poses, the backgrounds, if there was any, yada. And I just kept sort of expanding as I went. Had to move out of Maine and move to New York City. As I mentioned, my father was in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
So we, the rest of the family, my mother, my brother, and I, were living in Winter Harbor, Maine, which is a little town on the coast. And I went from Sumner High School in Hancock County, Maine. And I think the graduating class there would average about less than 100. And I went we moved to Fort Hamilton, which is an Army base underneath the Verrazano Narrows Bridge on the Brooklyn side.
Oh, yeah.
And went to Fort Hamilton High School, which is on the Bay Ridge Shore Road. And I think the graduating class was over 1,000 yearly.
Wow.
A student body approaching 4,000.
Wow. Oh my God.
So talk about feeling lost. Well,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, but then how did that transition for you to be like, all right, I'm going to go train with John Buscema in his class? Because that's what would happen, right?
Okay, so landed in New York City in 1972.
Jeez.
So the class was in 76, 77. So that was my senior year of high school.
Right.
So in the meantime, through my freshman, junior, sophomore years in high school, I continued, drawing, making these comics. I graduated up to Bristol board paper, and I was using repeatographs, and I was using India ink and brushes, and, trying to produce as professionally as possible. As I learned about what these guys used, I would take it up. I also discovered Zipatone.
Right, which is in Lance,
That's that clear, for those who don't know, that's that clear plastic that you use an X-Acto knife and you put it on the artwork and you cut away what you don't need, and it, various patterns and shades and so on. Later on in the John Buscema classes, my fellow classmates referred to me as the Zipatone Kid. So,
oh, that's
because
great.
I was fond of it. So
that's great.
And I would turn in finished, fully inked work where other people would be turning in pencils.
Right.
But I would turn in pencils as well. But I also like to do finishes. I was always fond of detailing and polishing and so on, and you can only do that when you ink.
Right.
So,
and you're amazing at inking. I mean,
yeah,
I love your style, man. And so when you moved to New York, sorry, Evan,
no,
go ahead.
Were you excited at the prospect of being in the big city and learning all this stuff, or was it overwhelming, or where was your mindset here?
I was very shy.
Yeah.
So it was more overwhelming.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
In high school, I was a ghost.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I was neither a jock nor a nerd or anything. I was just there.
Were you going to Comic Cons, or were you did you kind of focus on your artwork or anything like that?
Later on.
Okay.
Later
gotcha.
On, yeah. Not at first. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was kind of unaware of things.
Sure.
It's like Marvel was like, even though it was only a few miles away, it was like another world.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was the experience like, taking this class with John Buscema? Like what was it like? What was a day in the life of that?
Okay. Before I get into that, I'll get into how it came about.
Sure.
Because I think it's pretty interesting.
Sure.
He ran an ad in the Marvel comic books.
Nice.
And it was basically a little picture of Conan, and John Buscema is accepting students for his workshop comic art, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So write for information. So I wrote for information, and he was interviewing prospective students in one of the hotels there. I believe it was the Commodore at the time. I don't even know if it exists anymore. But so I go in there and I have samples of my art, and he's sitting there at a table, and there are other guys, sitting like in the hallway waiting to go see the man. And there I was, like all of 16 years old, with my little black portfolio.
Wow.
I walk in, and he stands up. He's a big man.
Yeah.
It's about 6'1", burly, like 250, and big voice. He's got the Brooklyn Queens sort of accent going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of, very old school kind of guy, dressed dapper, suit and tie. He's got well-groomed hair, the beard, the dark glass, the black glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen photos of him.
Oh yeah.
But kind of gregarious at the same time. He was quite. He put you at ease. So we sat down. He went through my stuff, and he says, "You have an eye for detail." And I said, "Thank you." And he says, "Some of your fundamentals need work." And I says, "I expected that." He says, "And you seem to have a penchant for drawing oversized heads."
Whoa.
And I says, "Oh, yeah." And I said, How big should the head be? He went on to explain that, especially in the Marvel universe, the figure should be 8 heads high or better. So, things like that, passing on the pro stuff.
Right.
Anyways, we talked and chatted, and it was $800, and that was 1975, 76 money. So that's, you do the math.
Yeah.
My father ponied up the dough.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And a funny side note, my mother and father took some of my old typewriter colored pencil felt
$4,000 today. Sorry. Yeah, it's $4,000.
Yeah. So that my parents, without my knowing it, grabbed some of my old felt tip typewriter paper comics, bundled them up in an envelope, and sent them to Marvel.
Oh my God.
I did not know this until I went to get them one time, and they were gone.
Oh,
What you do in the comics? Says, oh, we bundled them up and sent them to Marvel Comics and thought they might be interested. You know, I was like, oh my God, I'm not nearly, accomplished. Blah blah blah. Well, anyways, miracle of miracles, it all came back with a rejection letter signed by Stan Lee.
awesome.
Encouraging me to practice and so on and so forth. So no harm, no foul.
Wow.
But so anyways, John accepted me and about 24 people. And funny note, there's a Facebook page with former students of John Buscema on it.
Oh.
That original class. And one of the guys wrote,
wow,
how he got into the Buscema class. He actually called John up because the phone number was in the letter, and said, I just got into New York and just moved up here to take your class and everything. And John says, well, class is already full. And without missing a beat, the guy says, well, I got a check here for $800 made out to John Buscema. And John says, okay, that'll be Tuesday at the Hotel Carnival.
Yeah, right. Yeah, of course.
Room so-and-so.
Yeah, right. Amazing.
So,
well,
yeah.
Well, so you because we should definitely cut to showing some of the art. We should show some of the stuff you did in the 70s.
Yeah.
Is some of the stuff that I have, is that from the class or after the class?
Some of it is during the class, some of it is shortly after the class.
All right, so I'm gonna
pop. It's all circa 76, 77, 78.
Okay, cool.
I can tell you what's what.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. All right, so obviously this is Lance Stanton. We'll get to that shortly. All right, let's look at this here. Tell us about Layden.
Whoa! Oh my God!
Layden was my baby, my creation. I may yet do something with him if I retire and have the time to do it.
Oh yeah.
But, yeah, like Layden, and I'm impressed that you pronounced it because so many say Latin. No,
yeah.
It's laden, as in like the biblical thing. Come unto me, all ye who are heavily laden.
Right.
Well, Layden has issues and has problems. So, yeah.
And this is definitely like right off the bat when I saw this, when you said this to me, I was like, yeah, Master Kung Fu. Like that.
Oh yeah,
I can see the influence.
Heavy influence, yes.
Yeah, like oh my God, like right there. And I love the like trippy 70s, sort of like swirl behind him. And
so good.
Zipatone on the floor. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell us about the character though. Yeah, right. Tell us about the character a little bit.
Well, I'd rather keep the details of the character under wraps. Simply
because good. Okay, that's the right answer.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll sign an NDA. But that's awesome. I mean, it's incredible. So when was this? Set like mid 70s ish? We're talking here.
76.
Wow.
So during the class.
Oh, during the class. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, and also, dual wielding is always a plus. I agree. Yeah. Anytime you get
I know.
Yeah, you got to be dual wielding. All right, let's look at
nunchucks and a gun.
Nunchucks and a gun. All right, let's look at this, which I think is behind you there. So what are we looking at here? Okay,
that's the same character. Yep.
This is more Layden.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the sort of trapezoidal like background shafts, I think, would definitely reappear in Lance Stanton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but tell us more.
I always just like the texture. The
it's awesome
that he gave.
Totally.
Yeah, it's just a little quirk of mine. Yes.
Yeah, no, I
try not
totally
to overuse it, but there you go.
Oh, I think it's great.
Love a cyber girdle.
Yeah, totally. Gotta have that, and I just love like the soft pastel colors on the ceiling too.
Yeah, I
Pretty dope.
do love the colors here. Is this colored pencil or is this an ink
Yes.
wash? It's hard to. It is okay.
Yes, colored pencil.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, super cool. All right, tell us about this thing.
Whoa! Oh my god.
That's Annihilus or Annihilus, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Fantastic Four character from the
Right.
Negative Zone.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
That was actually an assignment for the
Oh.
class.
From the class. Oh,
Oh
cool.
wow.
It says draw a splash page from Fantastic Four number so and so, and
Oh, wow.
the first thing was Annihilus flying into the scene. So there you have it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. That's cool. All
And
right.
you can see the date 376.
Oh
right,
yeah,
right.
there it is. Wow, cool. All right, and tell me
Oh
this.
my god.
What's going on here? Is this more laden?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, because I have this too. Yeah, but yeah. So tell us what we're looking at.
Yeah, this is so trippy.
Well, this is a hidden base in the mountains.
Oh my god.
Oh, definitely see a Kirby influence with the tech there. Just with I guess yeah, just like I guess are those buildings?
Pattern
Yeah, the
crazy,
patterns.
yeah.
Yeah, pattern
And
crazy. Yeah, I love it. It's really cool with just like
This
the
is
architecture. I'm
wild,
looking
man.
at. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I definitely
You're
dig that.
great at inking. This is so
Yeah,
satisfying, man.
I know, for sure.
And so, and this is brush. Did you say what the ink is here?
Yeah. The figure is brush and quill pen.
Wow, God.
Yeah. The structures, so to speak, are repeat-graph, zipatone a little bit,
Oh,
Yeah,
just a
Yeah.
little here and there.
yeah.
Like along the side of the building, going down towards the bottom of the page, you see some
Sure.
stippling.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it just use a variety of techniques.
and then here I have a
If I'm
little
looking
zoom.
off to the side, I'm looking at the picture on the big screen.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
right.
And I'm going back to my phone.
No, that's cool. And then there's also I have this too because you sent me kind of a scan of it, or
Nice.
a printout of kind of just a section of it.
Yeah, because
you can see a little
I
closer.
couldn't find one big enough.
Right, right. Yeah,
Everyone
cool,
in the
though.
chat is going crazy for Layden. They're
know.
demanding Layden.
yeah. We got some confirmed laden sales whenever you are able to get it out into the world. But yeah, super cool. Yeah, you can see the screen tone in there. Really cool. And then this one too you sent also.
Wow. Oh my God.
And
Oh
I
my
just
God.
want to say, because someone pointed it out in chat earlier, which is Dave, I forgot to point this to you as well, is that we have a video that we did a couple months back, which was the top 10 power control rooms and the top 10 power weapons, and then we did a top 10 power vehicles. And I think that Lance is on every list.
Yep.
So
And won a couple of them.
Yeah,
Top-
won a
top
couple
the
of them.
list.
Yeah, so you might want to go back and look at the some of the top 10 lists, because I know Lance is making waves there too. But this obviously, yeah, this is a goddamn control room. So, and is this also
nuts?
Is this a Layden sort of scene assignment also from the class, or?
It's similar. It's not Layden per se, but if you notice off to the side, that's Nick Fury.
Oh,
right.
my
Should've known that.
God.
Yeah. So yeah, again, the Steranko.
This is giving me some Ben Mara vibes here, man.
I know, especially with the guy in the foreground.
Yeah,
For sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. God, this is incredible, Dave.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. So, I believe that's everything I have from this era. So maybe how can we sort of fill in the gap, so to speak, between that time period? Because, like I said, mentioned earlier, is in the opening letter here in Lance, you sort of talk about how there's a 13-year gap, right, between when you decided to start
Yes.
drawing Lance, or when you ended the class and then decided to go back into comics. So can you kind of fill in that gap for us? What was happening then in your life?
Okay, in July of 76, July of 76, my father retired from the Army. I graduated high school. And the family came up to Maine. So I wasn't adjacent to Marvel, DC, or anybody else.
Right.
And independent comics really weren't a thing.
Right.
In that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So I just basically got on with my life. I don't know how else to put it.
Right.
Just started working jobs, and then got married, had a family, that sort of thing. And
life happens.
Eventually, just kind of lost interest in all of it. Just got busy. And I remember going into an independent comic shop here in town, and I saw Cosmic Stellar Rebellers, the Hammock production.
Oh yeah.
And and it wasn't so much the book, it was the little tag that was above it that said Maine produced.
Right.
Wow.
Wow.
So I picked it up, I thumbed it, I says, well, this is interesting, it's not awful. I mean, it was just it was what it was, much like Lance was what it was as well. And I looked at the back, Waterville, Maine. Well, that's an hour away.
Right.
So I think I sent him some Xeroxes. I'm not sure. Or maybe I even drove up there and showed him my stuff. A little foggy on that. But we did get together.
Mm-hmm.
And this is James McNaughton. Right?
Yep.
Yes. Yep. And we got to discussing, doing something. He came up with a script, and I said, okay. So he said, give me a sketch of what this character looks like. So I came up with the Lance Stanton thing with a gun. That was the very first time I drew Lance.
Oh wow!
Right.
The t-shirt figure.
Yes.
Right. So and that you also did send me, but yeah, we can kind of look at it because it's in the comic, which is just amazing. It's what's used for the t-shirt design, which also the Coates brothers, shout out to you guys. You printed up on a shirt for us as well. Gabe, you have it somewhere.
Oh God, I know. Yeah.
But this was the first ever drawing you did of this character.
Yep. And I basically light boxed it onto page 2.
Nice.
Oh, right.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's the same drawing. Yeah, but
that's right.
Yep. So, came up with a script, and I started grinding it out, and there's the page. So I found that after 13 years of not doing it, it was very hard for me. To say rusty as hell would be an understatement. And it was like a horror movie where you got a fluorescent light flickering on and off.
Right.
There were flash. I had like flashes of adequacy, and then I had crashes.
Right.
So I had some panels in it that worked, some panels in it that didn't. And towards the end of it, with the deadline of the printer coming up, if it didn't make the deadline, it was like a $500 penalty or something.
Oh man, yeah, which we're gonna get to. We're gonna talk about that.
So
I just have a question though.
Go ahead.
So I was just gonna ask a question because Jeff Miller had it too. Was this shirt ever printed?
Yes.
Wow. Do you have a garage full of them still or not?
Oh no, I just had a couple and basically wore them out. But
did the printing go all the way to the bottom?
It was pretty much roughly that size. Yeah.
Wow, cool. That's amazing. Wow.
Did you end up cutting off the sleeves to fit your gigantic arms from when you were bodybuilding and wearing this t-shirt?
Yes.
A funny thing happens when you go into something. When you go into bodybuilding, you say, well, I want to do this, I want to do that, so on and so forth. I wanted to get the Arnold Schwarzenegger pectorals and
Right. Of course.
Everything. You know what I got? I got huge legs.
Really?
Muscular, huge legs. And my back grew very well.
Good.
Good.
My chest hardly responded at all, and my arms were average, nothing special. I got them up to 18, and that was about it. But
wow,
yeah,
damn though, seriously. So you guys worked on this story together. Let's maybe like flip through the comic a little bit as we're sort of talking, because I think it'll just add a little bit to it. So obviously this first page is great. Again, I can definitely see that Kirby influence coming through with this. I don't know if that was kind of going through your mind at the time. But this is Lord Kragan, so right? He's like the main. Is he a bad guy? Is he a good guy? What's his alignment?
I don't.
Well, basically, LANCE STANTON takes place in a post-apocalyptic scenario,
right?
And Kragan, much like The Walking Dead today, was basically, an overlord of a certain section, and his thing was high technology and militarism. And so he ran his compound and his section of the world, so to speak, accordingly. And the guy he was after was more peacenik, more like a communal type of person, granola type,
right.
And he split off from Kragan when he saw what Kragan was all about.
I got
and so after a long period of time, Kragan starts to get a little paranoid as to maybe, Friedman could come back and,
right. Friedman is the guy, right? Who's the peacenik, right? Yeah. Right.
Yeah. He's horn in on his deal, so to speak. So he wants to be the top dog. So he sends out Lance to find him and basically to, reel him in.
Those doors are so cool. I love that design on those doors.
We've always talked about that.
Always stood out to me.
Yeah.
Master Kung Fu doors.
Totally.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Like you'd see in Fu Manchu's palace.
So good.
Yeah, totally. Love it. Yeah, so great. So this is kind of where now he's going to be, Kragan is going to be summoning Lance, and this is when we're first introduced to him. And then now, and this is a great shot here, and then I love the transition here into seeing the doors return here. And this is great, man. I mean, we're just like getting introduced to Lance, and then of course this. I always loved this dialogue, this panel too, of them just marching back into the, I guess what the inner sanctum. And then of course he wants Lance to terminate Friedman, right? That's the idea.
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
Yeah. And then here he's gearing up to go. Any thoughts or feelings come back to you, Dave, on seeing these pages again?
I feel like I wasn't off to an awful start, but it was less than I had hoped for.
Really?
Again, rusty as hell.
Right.
I mean, this doesn't compare with the stuff that I'd done a decade ago.
Right.
So,
but obviously in a 2021 lens, to us, like in the types of art that we appreciate here, there is like, a very tactile, because obviously the stuff you're doing a decade prior to this is technically awesome. I mean, it is awesome, and it's for a totally different host of reasons. But for this here, this is what kind of, for us, we use the word singular a lot. It kind of gives it its own, very tactile quality. The fact that it's kind of a hybrid between the two, that it is, or more outsider. The fact that it's like you had this training, 13 years ago, and now it's wavered a bit, but now it's becoming something, I think, to me at least, more interesting. Gabe, right? When you say
right, yeah, no, what I love about it is how it's so clearly influenced by these kind of great comic artists, and the way you're able to pull from these other, you know, masters who are kind of, you know, frankly, very conventional. Just the fact that they've kind of created the path for a lot of the stuff that's going on, and you're kind of taking the bits and pieces from them, but then creating this wholly unique style and aesthetic. And it's, you know, it's interesting you say that you struggled with some stuff. I mean, what stands out to me is like you're like the splash page master. What my favorite thing about Lance is like you'll just turn the page and then there'll just be this like epic painting, you know.
Well, here we have this.
Everything. It's just like, and I love how you pick and choose what is, how, you know, everything is so deliberate. You know, a lot of the stuff that we look at on the channel is like, can be pretty rough and, you know, like clearly the person is just like, at some point kind of giving up and going, all right, this is good enough. But like, even the stuff that like is less, let's say, deliberate or rendered, you're still putting in the effort to make it look clean, and like, which gives it such an amazing style. There's nothing like it, Dave.
Well, one thing I wanted to say too about it is like, let's say you did this page in a class, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps maybe the teacher would say, well, the perspective on the right wall, or, you know, this is too, you know, whatever, far out, man. But or maybe the perspective on the rail isn't like 100% accurate, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that this is, you know, like the fact that is like technically wrong, and this makes it more like when I see this page, I'm thinking like, whoa, like, you know, is the acid hitting me now, like at this moment right now, you know?
It's like imprints on your brain. But yeah, it's like to that analogy, if you were to give a class today of 20 people to, you know, make this panel, you'd get 19, you know, 1 point perspective, very generic, like looks like a video game, you know. Like, I'm convinced that it's just, there's so much homogeny in the comic art world in a lot of ways, that like stuff like this is just like really so just it just so effective, you know.
So I remember, as Ben said on this when we went through it, he's like, I wish the whole comic took place on this platform, this moving platform.
I
know. Anyway, moving through it, Lance venturing out into this wasteland here, and again we get just another cool shot of the world, and here it is. It opens. Were there any cinematic influences for you in creating this, or was it mostly from comics?
Maybe a little bit from Planet of the Apes or something like that.
That seems to be a big one.
Popular at the time.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that seems to be a big one for the Power Comics world. But yeah, welcome to the Wastelands, and then here he is. Then we get these shots here. And it is too, like the design of the character is what I find is kind of interesting too in your style. This is 1988, whatever, 89, whenever you're drawing this. And yet, like, the style is still very 70s.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So that aspect you've kind of frozen in time as well. Like, you know, it's a very 70s design for not only Lance, but for Kragan. Everyone's wearing bell bottoms still, and we're drawing this in, you know, 88, which I love. I think that's awesome.
Were you reading any like heavy metal magazine at this point, or was that not on your radar at all?
No, not really. I was aware of it.
Interesting. Yeah.
Right.
Because it really gives off a vibe of like a one-off heavy metal story in a lot of ways.
It does.
Aesthetically and story-wise.
A little side note, when Buscema was talking about how I drew my heads too big on some of my figures, I mean, you think maybe the heads might be a little too large on this. You should have seen my early drawings. But anyways,
I can't wait.
You know, I have things in my mind that I don't let out of my gate. But
you and me both, brother.
I was tempted to say, well, it never hurt Rich Corbin, but
yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, you know, Richard Corbin. It's like two people in the chat just pointed out Richard Corbin. Like, that wasn't anyone you were reading at the time, really, or
Oh yes, yeah, I see right there, and yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right
I
there.
don't know who.
There.
I do not know who Barrett is.
Oh, Barrett, I think is just someone in the chat.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. Who are you, Barrett
Williamson? Okay. Yeah.
But
okay.
Tip of the hat. Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, Richard Corbin, he did a lot of heavy metal stuff, a lot of underground comics,
right.
Sci-fi.
I love this stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, he just passed away, I think, last year or earlier this year.
Yes, recently.
Yeah. So then we get the characters out in the wasteland. We get some inner strife here between, and then, yeah, love this too. Love the Kragan. Love this shot too. This punch here is great.
I mean, I love how sparse the dialogue is here. I mean,
Me too.
I have no idea what the script or outline look like, but I love how much is just conveyed without heavy, exposition or dialogue. Because really, I mean, the setup is pretty straightforward. You just need you need Lance marching off into the wasteland. It's like, what more do you need? You don't really need all that much more. It just is perfect. It's so easy. I remember the first time I read it, I just zipped through it, and then you have to just go back and study it, because it just kind of
some of the self-published comics. Yeah, some of the self-published comics we look at on this channel, obviously, can be exposition overload. You get just the pages and pages and pages of stuff. Of just this exposition setup and stuff. But this just gets right into it. It's very clean. And here we go. We have the debut of the vehicle.
The Fisher-Price.
Yes. I want to know what. Yeah. Tell me everything about this.
Yeah.
Vehicle.
The Fisher-Price came to be because I needed something simple that I could repeat quickly.
Yep.
It was basically a drawing economy move.
But I love, again, it's just that same idea of we see a lot of stuff where it's it would just be such a scribble, but you took the time to render it and render the shadows on the wheels, or it's you actually went for.
Yeah, it has the chiaroscuro.
The rendering.
Well,
it's crazy.
Fit with the rest.
Yeah, of course.
Fit with the rest of the art, so I had to do something with it.
Yeah, this was if not number one of our top 10 vehicles list, it's up there. It's definitely.
It stays with you, man.
It definitely does. It definitely does.
I was telling Evan if I had the time and the equipment and everything else, because I literally have nothing now, no drawing board, no. Anyways, I was thinking of drawing Lance leaning up against this absolutely insane vehicle and flipping you the bird.
Yes.
Fisher-Price my ass.
Dude, people, I pay good money for that.
Well,
I love it. Oh man, that's a
spite art. Give it to me.
Yeah,
I deserve it.
That's all right.
The artist should fight back against us for sure, because I think Lance Stanton was one of the early episodes. If you haven't seen it, guys, the Lance Stanton Book Club episode we did several months ago. I sent it to Dave, crossing my fingers oh my God, how bad did we get on it? Riffing on it. Please don't kill me, because we do really love this. And of course, I was oh yeah, the Fisher-Price gag. Oh boy. But
yeah,
I am. Let me tell you something. I am my own harshest critic. There's no way you can harsh any more than I do. So
but we love it. We love it. Yeah. Anyway, so the moving on from that. Oh, and then of course.
Oh my God! I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This is I'm speechless. This is so incredible. Just you turn the page and you have this Japanese woodblock print, and I'm just
yeah. It's cool.
Meditating too.
Here's the Zipatone Kid right up here.
Oh,
with the sky.
Love the Zipatone Kid.
Yeah. And it is, and what also makes it kind of in its own category is that again, this is being published in the 80s, and it's so 70s, because immediately I can't remember what I said on the video, but I was this looks like a Manson family, person up here with this Gatling
totally gun. That hair, yeah. But that
something.
composition on the other page, how, like
right.
how what was the process of like composing this? How, was this just like how many different iterations did you do of just like a sketch before you decided on this? Because I feel like if I like held up the golden rule, you know, like the spiral, it would like fit in like 20 different ways on this. This is like such a great composition here.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, I love it. Because you got him up here too.
I've never really done like layouts like on a separate piece of paper. I just basically
really?
Just basically sketch it out as I see it.
Whoa.
And then basically, to me, putting down a drawing is basically slapping it down and then fixing your mistakes and fixing your mistakes and fixing your mistakes.
Yeah.
And,
like
you know, if it works most of the time, not all the time.
Right.
Like the Gene Colan of Daredevil fame was notorious for just starting his panels wherever, whatever. He would start with a nose. He would start with a hand.
Oh my God.
He would start with a foot and then draw the figure up from the foot. He would never like do, like a full layout. He would just have in his mind what he had in mind. And he would just,
I knew people like that in school who they were just like human printers, and you'd be like, draw this, and then they would just start with a finger, and then at the end they'd have just the most insane composition. Like it just, but even to that end, like this is like my own process would be like 15 doodles and then 100 sheets of tracing paper just to get that.
Yeah.
And this, you said this is on Bristol board. This is what you were working on. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is not super forgiving in a lot of ways with like, you know.
I worked with a Bristol board that had a little bit of tooth to it. It wasn't,
perfect.
It wasn't super smooth.
Right.
It wasn't the rough stuff either. It was just some damn good paper. I don't even know if we can find it anymore, but it was fairly forgiving. The super smooth stuff, I totally hear you on that. It's like,
I mean, that's the only stuff I've ever used.
Yeah, if you go with that with a brush, you better have a really steady hand.
Yeah.
every little waver and quiver is going to just be there.
Wind up.
Yeah.
So then just to keep it moving here, we get,
oh my God,
love this too, and this also did, read to me as underground comic vibe too. Just this,
totally.
This panel here of this guy getting shot down. Like I think Barrett's even talking about in the chat, like this would have gotten play in the classic undergrounds where Spain and Corbin got published. Totally, I totally see that.
100%.
Again here, another great splash.
This is my. I need this page. I need this. I love this character.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
This evil
Wasteland
monster
man.
hippie man.
Yeah, monster
Wasteland
hippie.
man.
Yeah, I love it.
Such a brilliant page.
It's a great page. So now, Dave, tell us a little bit about. Obviously, you alluded to it a little bit at the top, but you were sort of talking about how. Yeah, it's amazing.
God.
Yeah, it's incredible. You were talking about how you're under this crazy deadline to get this done, right? And it was like a race to literally get this thing finished and to give it to the printer. So at what point are we sort of hitting that where you're starting to feel major pressure? Have we gotten there yet or not quite yet?
What page number? 14?
We're on 14. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's starting to get a little hectic right about then, and I'd say the last 5 or 6 pages definitely. Right. Yeah. It was a marathon.
This is my favorite page.
I know, where he catches the daggers. Yeah, it's coming.
The throw and the catch. This is like.
And
so
from a storytelling point of view, I also love how the knives are coming towards him. Is this a Master Kung Fu trick where the knives are coming at him, but it's cliffhangered by this incredible splash page, which we get.
Yeah, It's basically a martial arts meme. I mean, it's always been around. Catching the spear, catching the knife, catching the nunchuck. Yeah.
But we're also taking a
okay.
break though from that action.
Right.
Like he hasn't caught them yet, and then we're cutting to a splash page somewhere else.
Well, that's what I want to ask is knowing now that you are under such a time crunch, was this done earlier? Was this like early on in the process? You did this and then
actually, I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah, because this must have taken
I always wanted to do a center spread.
This is incredible.
Thank you.
I mean, open it up here a little bit so you can see it.
How long did this take, do you think?
Oh, that was probably a couple of days' work, full days.
Yeah.
This is like,
and there are those
masterpiece
trapezoidal shafts there that we've seen in the other earlier work, which is really cool. Love it. And then of course, you know, I have to give a shout out to you also, Dave, because now this is living in the Power Comics archive here. The original.
Oh, yeah. I know. Like, put it in the Louvre. Move over, Mona Lisa. No, that's like so special.
When we get the Power Comics Gallery show happening in Miami, Gabe, that'll definitely be on the wall, for sure. So let's get back to the action here, and then in the story, we're sort of having this inner monologue here with Kragan, and I do remember something interesting here.
He's like doubting Lance's abilities, I think, right?
Oh yeah, where he's put all this credence into his physical training, and into making Lance the warrior that he is, but he's neglected his emotional needs. Is what he says. Yeah, which I love. And of course, this medallion's great. Yeah, man, this kind of looks like Brando in Apocalypse Now a little bit.
It does. Oh my god.
Yeah, it totally does.
The hills have eyes.
Oh, the hills have eyes. Totally. That's Michael Berryman. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, total hills have eyes for sure. But then when we get back to the main story here, Lance catches the daggers, and I love this too. I love the way this looks, like a lot. And then of course he catches them
between his fingers. Oh my
between
God.
his fingers and sends him back. Love that. And then, of course, the guys get knifed. Wasteland Man is like, whoa. And we get to see some bloods, and the comics getting us some of that, which I love. And then this is it, guys. This is when we get to see the debut of Lance's weapon. All right, you got to tell us about this weapon design and what you remember putting it together, because I'm pretty sure it topped our weapons list as well.
Dave, this was the winner. This is the top #1 space, I think, for power weapons.
It was the top power weapon of all time.
Okay. Pardon me for a moment. I had to plug my phone in.
Oh, no worries.
No problem.
Okay, so yeah, basically I just stole it from Star Trek. You know,
really?
Yeah, Spock and Kirk duking it out.
Oh my God!
Wow. Yeah. But this weapon you took from Star Trek?
Yeah, not the expandability, but the the bludgeon on one side, the blade on the other.
Right.
But Marine Corps, they train with these things all the time, except there's a big pad on both sides.
Gotcha. Like American Gladiator style.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
100%.
So I just
I
just decided that he would have a weapon that he could either kill someone or something, or he could just give him a good wallop.
Right.
You can really feel the weight of like that bludgeon versus that blade. I mean, this really triggers some like childhood glee in me about spinning that thing around and chopping off heads.
What about the expandability? Where did that influence play into?
That was me. I just figured that it'd be kind of awkward for him to just be walking around like an African bushman with with overgrown spear. So
right. So way to compact it. Got it. So then we get this kind of badass montage here.
So good.
Where he's just taking this guy out. But are these sort of like, was the intent to make it kind of feel, with these montage pages here, or is this really the kind of rush in with the comic, getting it done?
You say attempt to make it feel what?
Oh no, I'm saying like the. I mean, this is obviously very montagey here, in terms of him.
Oh,
is this a stylistic choice to kind of, show more passage of time, or is it more just like, I got to get this done?
A little bit of both.
Right.
I mean, the story was pretty much what it was. I just didn't fill it out as much as I would have liked to.
Mm.
I like it. Yeah, I like the sparseness in these this passage here, because it works for just these 2 pages here very well, I think. And then we get back into this, which I love, because we're about to see one of my favorite pages here. But now he sort of radios in, figuring out his next moves, and then we cut to my favorite page, maybe one of them.
Oh, thirsty Lance.
So now, Dave, be honest. You're just sketching your own body, right, for this?
Yeah, you're looking in the mirror, right?
Yeah. Right?
You got me.
Yeah. Of course. That now makes a lot of sense. But yeah, of course, I remember in our episode, Gabe, we called
Love that tent.
Awesome frame of just, Lance sleeping on his own arm, with
so
the gun
cozy.
right there. Yeah, for sure. Love it. So that's great. Zipatone Kid here coming back. Now this is where, like, I think, the drugs are really starting to hit, from when you're looking at this, because also
sleep deprivation.
Or yeah, you know what, Gabe, do you remember James in high school? The guy who intentionally shaved in a male pattern baldness into his head. This is the school.
Oh yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
Because Gabe and I actually went to an arts high school together, and Gabe was in the visual arts program. But didn't James do an art project where he did sleep deprive himself, and then drew the same thing? I think he did.
That sounds about right.
Like where he stayed up for like 72 plus hours, and then try to draw the same thing over and over again. And this does kind of read to me as that a little bit, with like how long the car is getting, and then once we're getting to these walls and they're like, whoa.
Yes, oh my god,
right?
It's really so trippy.
It's very trippy. And then of course how the car's peeking out here, like because you must be staying up without any sleep, I'm guessing, right, at this point?
I nearly went 48 hours and then drove to Lewiston, Maine.
Oh my god.
Which is like hours drive, right?
An hour and a half, yeah.
So you drove an hour and a half. So you worked 48 hours straight and then drove an hour and a half to drop this to the printer. So yeah, that's the reason.
Cat naps, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. But yeah, it's just basically, sleeping until I, just trying to recover enough to draw more.
I love it. I mean, I don't love it, but I love what the influence it has on the art, just to be like, whoa, And then we have this female character, and this is great stuff too, because finally the kind of robotic character from the cover makes an appearance. We should talk about the cover too. We kind of skipped over that, but and then she destroys this thing, and then I think Lance feels a little left out. But then he goes at it here, and then we're left with this awesome splash page cliffhanger. And I mean, up until last week, I thought this was it. I thought literally this was the end of all Lance, because we always talk about with these power comics that are one-off issues. It's kind of like the story of them; they get frozen in time forever. It's kind of like this. That's it. That's all you get. It's like an unproduced pilot. It's like a pilot of a television show that never makes it to series. In some ways. And you blew my freaking mind, which we showed on the Hall of Fame show, the Power Comics Hall of Fame show, that you have, of course,
highlight of the night.
Highlight of the night that you had 6 pages of what would have been Lance Stanton 2. But before we get to that, I wanted to ask you about, like, so you turn this into the printer, and let's just say, you know, just for context, Jim McNaughton, who was the publisher of Hammock Publications, he was childhood friends with Kevin Eastman, as we learned, and was able to get a deal through Kevin, I believe, to get his comics distributed. So this is kind of what you're up against in terms of getting this in on time for the distributors and printing and whatnot. But so what happened after you finished it?
Not much. You know, it was like from there on out, it was in their hands, you know, distributors and so on and so forth. I do know we got a boatload of them back.
Right.
So there was that. But that was kind of like their end of the deal, so to speak. I really wasn't terribly involved.
Right. Gotcha. But then he must have been like, all right, we got to do number 2, you know, right? So get going.
Well, yeah. I mean, I felt like with number 2, I was like, okay, I got that out of the way, the first issue, and I'm going to make this second issue a little bit more, just better.
Right.
And, you know, it became obvious after a while there was some sort of difficulty with the distributor. Like they were either saying they weren't going to distribute it, or they weren't going to distribute it as widely. I'm a little foggy on that.
Sure.
But long story short, there were difficulties.
Got it.
And plus would have had to pony up more dough,
right,
you know, for something that wasn't returning dough. So it was like
also,
the writing was on the wall.
Right.
As far
but also,
as that went.
Right. Sorry. Also explain that, I mean, did you put up the money for this issue, like, to get it printed?
My father helped, but
Wow.
yes, we put up the money. Yeah.
Damn. Wow. So, and then real quick, what was the experience like working with Hammock Publications? Do they have an office? Was it was this out of his basement? How was this operation run at that time?
At the time, they rented out a top floor of a storefront.
Okay.
And it was
Cool.
Jim was there. Shannon Hamilton was there. He was the Cosmic Stellar Rebeller guy.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Paul Pelletier was there for a time.
I know. So wild.
He was a classy dude. I liked him. He helped me out on a particular art problem I was having, and once he explained something to me, I said, "Oh yeah, I see that." Yep. So basically, it had to do with drawing women. He was saying, Dave, you're drawing. He said, Dave, you're drawing women with male hips. He says, you need to make the hips taller and a tad wider. And once I started doing that, it's like, oh yeah, you know, just like light went on, boom. So
thank you, Paul Pelletier. And then I wanted to also just shout out not only the cover but also the back cover as well.
Ooh, so good.
Which is just awesome as well. Do you have any memories of doing the any of the cover or the back cover? Were these done after or before when you had turned in, or?
I believe they were done before.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah,
great cover.
Spend a little more time on them. Yep.
Yeah.
And the by the way, the logo I created.
Yeah. Love that handwritten
Great logo.
The hand lettered logo. It's awesome. We talked about that.
Yeah, and I did all the lettering in the book too. But
yeah, the lettering is very underrated too. Quality.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys were shouting it out there in the comments. Yeah, totally agree. The lettering is on par.
I noticed that in the comments, so I thought I'd just throw that in.
Yeah.
Somebody else asked what I used to ink with, and the answer to that would be yes.
What's that?
The answer to what I used to ink, I'd just be yes. Anything.
Anything and everything available. Yeah.
Brush, quill pen. What do you call them? They're the gray magic markers.
Right. Anything. Anything that
Yeah,
can produce
yeah.
the color
Fine
black.
points, but the only thing I wouldn't use would be maybe like a ballpoint pen. Wouldn't use that, but repeatographs for fine details, especially like for machinery, that kind of thing. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Indian brush. Yep.
All right, so then now you blew our friggin' minds when we did the Hall of Fame show that there is more Lance Stanton. So let's just quickly take a look at some of the stuff that. So you sent me some Xerox copies of the original art. So let's take a look at what we showed y'all on the Hall of Fame show. Here we go. This would have been the opening splash page to Lance Stanton number 2. I'm gonna have to take me a minute here to get it all.
Oh my God!
Perfect. But yeah. So.
And how long after the first issue did you start working on this? The second.
Right away.
Right away. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome already because right off the cliffhanger, which is an awesome cliffhanger. We didn't give it enough love here. Just with that Zipatone void, I think is goddamn Law called it. Comes out of the ground there, and here we go into issue number 2. Now, do you remember anything about what the story was going to be at all? I know it's 30 years ago, but do you remember where this was going?
Yeah, basically, there was going to be the conflict, and I can tell you the story after you get to the end of the pages. It would work better if you did that.
Sure, let's do that then. All right, so then this is page number 2 we have here. I mean, killer stuff. Yeah, and we could see more of the space that you were also that you were drawing towards the end of the book there, as represented here, which is really cool. And then page 3, I don't have the Xerox for, so I'll show that as a pic you sent me. This was page 3.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Where he's chopping the fingers off of the giant robot, which is cool. Of him, the robot there closing in on him. Love it. So that's page 3. Page 4. Awesome. Going right up to the head there. Love the shot of Lance down here too. So that's.
And is this all supposed to be dialogueless, or were you going to add in anything after the fact?
Actually, I had this all penciled out, and then basically it was shut down, so I just inked it and put it away.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Jim, I think you might be missing a page there.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh.
After he cuts off the robot's fingers.
Okay.
There's a scene where the robot is looking at his damaged hand, and then he attempts to grab Lance with his other hand. So, and it's like, you probably find it in here.
Is it this one?
Yeah, as soon as I see it.
Yeah, I think he's looking at his mangled hand.
You see it there? Has it come through yet?
There we go. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, so I had him in the wrong order. Sorry.
Yes, that's okay.
This one comes first.
Yeah.
Wow.
So as you can see, he's plunging his hand into the ground to avoid the blade, and then he's like scooping Lance up, earth and all, so to speak.
Right. Okay, that makes much more sense. Okay. Great. So we go from there, and then we go here.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes much more sense.
And the girls, they are kind of like mocking him,
right? Because that's kind of the dynamic that's set up in the end of the last issue. Is that like he's kind of like feels a little inadequate when she's kicking ass, and now he's like, all right, let's see what you got. Right.
Yeah.
And then of course we have
the last page, the incomplete.
Final incomplete.
Oh,
that is a
God.
That is a sad sight. Literally Lance
frozen
in time. But I love that. That's killer.
Yeah. The way this page would have played out is that he's holding the ball in his hands and he's plunging the blade into the eye, if you will,
Oh my
of the
God.
robot.
Oh, wow.
You know, like he's just taking the fight to the robot.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, there'd be a bunch of Kirby crackle and fire and so on.
Yes.
And what happens is he takes down the robot, but he also gets injured and knocked out in the process. And so
classic Lance.
The girl has to take care of him. Like he's going to be waking up under her care, and he's mortified and yada yada yada. So you can see where that would be going.
Okay.
Right. Ooh.
Yeah. So she would be like his foil. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, gotcha.
And 3 guesses who the girl is.
His sister. His
somebody's daughter.
Oh, Kragen's?
No.
Friedman's.
Yes.
Yes. Got it. Okay. There we go. Wow. Never.
And so he,
thickens.
hence the wayward warrior.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as he learns the other side of the argument, so to speak.
Wow. So, speaking of wayward warrior, were you familiar with that? You know, Hammock and maybe a different iteration did actually do sort of a wayward warrior series off this character.
I was vaguely aware of it. I never actually saw it.
Let's look at it.
I know Paul Pelletier did some of it.
He did, yeah. But, so here's the cover to Hammock's Wayward Warrior. So this is kind of a goofier, right, version of Lance?
I understood that that's the way it went. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not as cool.
I hate it.
Yeah, I hate it too. So there's that. And then here's like another. I mean, no thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what happened to Lance, is he became this, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So all right.
Not canon.
No, no way. Would not be allowed in the Power Comics universe. But there you have it. I mean, absolutely amazing to see, you know, all this Lance Stanton stuff especially from the second issue, and this sort of, you know, amazing last frame. But what's the sort of story behind just, you know, pausing it here?
I basically was discouraged with the way the whole thing went and just wanted to put it behind me.
Gotcha.
I mean, I wasn't angry about it, but it was a big disappointment. I'd suffered a financial loss and that kind of thing.
Right.
You know, if I said something dramatic like, you know, it's a terrible thing when dreams die, you know, or something like that, then no, it's nothing like that. But you know, I was just you know, had my fill of it and just needed to go on with my life. And I felt like this was kind of like emblematic, like, okay, you know, I felt like this was a good place to end it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
because I knew I wasn't going to complete it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Cause you sort of went back and you inked it, even though you knew it was done. But I do like the way that it's represented here as the last.
Right? This is the way I worked a lot of the time.
Okay.
Is I would pencil a bit and I'd ink a bit. I'd pencil a bit and then ink a bit, because I just I knew what I was after, and once I had what I felt I needed down, I wanted to capture it in ink before it got away from me. If that makes any kind of sense.
Totally. Yeah, 100%. So here's a question for you. So mid 70s, you get, yeah, it reminds me of Rush. Totally. 100%. This could be like a Rush album cover. But so you, in the mid 70s, you take a break, 13 years, you sort of hibernate, if you will, and then you kind of come back to comics in 1989. Do you think there's another extreme version where you kind of now it's been 30 years that you would come back for a third time.
I mean, like Lance Stanton resurrected or something.
Yes.
Like that.
Don't taunt us. We might hold you
I like
to
the
it.
sound of that.
I know.
I guess
that last page could be left as it is, and then on page 7 we could have Lance bolting upright.
Yeah.
Saying,
right.
It was a dream,
No, I know.
Exactly.
Yes. I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure that there's enough people in the Power Comics community who would definitely back a Lance Stanton resurrected project. I'm pretty certain.
Oof.
Pretty certain of that. So one thing I want to touch on, because I do have a huge announcement to make. I mean, we should call it a show here. We've gone feature length here, hour 25 minutes. But I do want to make sort of the first early announcement of this, because this is a big deal. So in meeting Dave and talking to Jim McNaughton, as you guys know, we've kind of corresponded with him a bit. And of course we have this epic deal happening with Floating World Comics. As you know, we're doing the Vendetta Holy Vindicator. They've indicated to us that they really want to do single issue reprints. And what would be the best first case scenario for that? To bring back old Lance Stanton in a republishing. I think that would be freaking awesome. So that's what we're working on, right, Dave?
Yeah, sure. I'll be packaging up the pages as requested and mailing them along.
That's right. So we will be doing a special republishing of Lance Stanton. TBD for more info. This is like hot off the presses. But we're going to be doing a Lance Stanton reissue, which will feature, these 6 pages from Lance Stanton 2, and of course the original issue to get it back in print. Because this is a hard one to find. This is a really hard issue to find now these days. It doesn't pop up all that often. So I think that'll be awesome. So stay tuned for more information on that. You heard it here first. But Dave, man, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Is there anything else?
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to get in before we call it?
There were a lot of comments that went by in the comments section, but I really didn't get a chance to address much of it.
Right, I know.
Somebody was asking about like commissions and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Ooh, good call.
That might be something I would be interested in doing, but I tell you, it'd probably take me, I don't know, a few weeks, month, or whatever to get up to speed. So to speak. I need to buy equipment.
Yeah.
I need to practice.
That would be great.
Not going to rust off again. But I mean, if somebody was interested in that, I'd be interested in, doing whatever.
Oh,
amazing.
Definitely want that. I mean, ever since we had, Tony Lorenz, I mean, he's always been drawing, but ever since he's kind of been on the show, he's kind of doing nonstop commissions ever since. So that definitely could be a thing. I mean, hell, I've even commissioned something from Tony that I can't wait to unveil soon. Tony, remember? Zip of the lips on that one if you're listening. So that would be amazing to get some new Lance commissions. Is there any way to get a hold of Dave, is what Jeff Miller is asking. Is there any way people can contact you? What's the preferred method?
Well, you have my contact information, Ethan. So you can feel free to pass it along.
Yeah.
I have a Facebook page.
Let's see. Yeah, you do. You're on Facebook, right? Can I share that here?
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Is your email for public consumption as well?
Sure.
Okay. So
I mean, if I can get email for love dolls, I can certainly get emails for commissions.
All right. Let's see.
That's Lance Stanton 007 at AOL.com.
No.
I've put the Dave's Facebook page and also his email address into the chat.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
all right. Expect some commissions there, bud.
Yeah, I know. You better go get those materials going. But But awesome. This has been amazing. Thank you so much. And formally, congratulations on Lance Stanton being part of the Power Comics Hall of Fame. I mean,
Yes.
we look at hundreds of comics.
Absolutely. That's the
and
biggest honor of all.
That's the top 6 out of it made it in the first year. I mean, this is prestigious Hall of Fame.
Big deal.
Yeah. So, well, thank you so much for joining us.
I've had a blast.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave,
well,
we love you.
Yeah.
Huge fans. Have been for a decade now. We're so happy you're here, and you're part of the family now. So
Yeah.
get used to us and knowing you.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely.
Oh, I'll keep in touch. I'll drop you a note or something. Yep.
Hell yeah.
All right, definitely. Please,
All right, brother.
Please do. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Dave, and TBD on if we'll have a show next week. We might take a little break going into the holidays. Come back maybe fresh in Jan. I'm not sure yet, so stay tuned on the Instagram. I'm not sure what we'll do. So stay tuned. But Dave, it's been real. Thank you guys for tuning in, and have a great rest of your week. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.